Peace, family, and welcome to another episode of Underground Railroad Radio. I'm your host, Brother Rich, and we are back with Sister Myrah, our astrologer, the Oracle. What's going on, sister?
Pretty much everything, Brother Rich.
Good, okay, all right. When you say it like that, I guess we're going to have an interesting conversation when you say it like that.
I certainly hope so.
You know, I wanted to get, before I get into the questions about the show, when I said the Oracle, it made me think about the Matrix. A real quick question dealing with astrology and, psychic abilities and clairvoyance that I wonder, why is it that women are usually the clairvoyants or the psychics, or they're more into these type of sciences? Why is that, Sister Myrah?
Because, you're getting to the crutch of my information because, as I said last time, the equal balance of opposites, that's the formula for creation. So everything has to balance equally. And the ultimate balance is a masculine and feminine and physical and spiritual. It has to be a dual balance of opposites. So the masculine and feminine balance doesn't mean male or female. It means external and internal. But the feminine is more connected from within, and the masculine is more connected externally, you see. If you look at the elements, you have the air and fire, which are masculine, and air is mental. That's Father's spirit. It's mental and the mind, how we think, which is connected at the higher level to the spirit. The air element, Father's spirit. And then you have the fire element, which represents the sun. And he's the Prince of Power. That has to do with our desires, our passions. And at the highest level, it represents our power. So that's the external. Versus when we go internal to the feminine, then we're dealing with earth and water. Water deals with our emotions. That's Mama. She speaks to us through our feelings, through what we feel. Men are more, they're more about logic and reason. They deal more with the air, logic and reason, where the women deal more with their emotions. So they're more connected internally to Mama, to Big Mama, to Mama Universe through their emotions. So we are more intuitive when it comes to the internal and the hidden aspect of things.
All right, okay. So
did that answer?
No, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yes. I want to start out with Sister Myra. This is we got a lot of things going on in the news. You touched on some of it. The show we had about a month ago, and I just kind of want you to elaborate it because it just seems as though things are getting more and more intense in the media and on the street and in the country. I mean, there's a saying, as above, so everything without. People use the science of astrology to determine what's going to happen on the physical ground. They say it happens astrologically, I guess, first, or and it happens in the cosmos first. I want to know, Sister Myra, everything that we see going on, I mean, a lot of different perspectives on this, and, I'm open-minded. I want to hear everybody's perspective. So I know you're one of the best at what you do, Sister Myra, so I have to know, astrologically, what's going on in the cosmos for this to be happening down here right now, because this is something we haven't seen, or I haven't seen. And it's something, it's just quite, it's all in the news. So what's happening in the cosmos for all of this racial tension to be going on right now?
Well, it's, it may seem very, very bad, but actually it's very, very good. Remember, spirit is opposite the physical. So what we're seeing in the physical denotes exactly what's opposite what's happening spiritually, you see. So we are at the time of fulfillment, where everything that has been coming together, it's now time for it to be fulfilled. And you always fulfill through the opposite when you become whole. So right now we're in what we call the purification phase, which means everything has to be exposed. All impurities, all the things that will undermine our evolutionary process. We did enter the Aquarian age. December 21st, 2012 is what started the cycle or the spiral for that. What people don't realize is that spiritual spiral, what goes around comes around. In other words, it opened that gateway on December 21st, 2012, but we didn't complete that spiral until December 21st, 2013. So that's when we officially were entered into the Aquarian age. The Mayans said that at 0 point, we would line up with the Milky Way and make our crossover into this new age, equally in balance, physically and spiritually. Well, I think I explained last time on the show that did happen December 31st, 2013. 13 is the soul vibration, so we're just now in range of the soul vibration, which is where we access the subconscious, our magic, which comes from the subconscious. So this is all giving us prelude to the fact at where we are in the larger scheme of things. And right now we're in a purification phase where everything must be exposed that could undermine us evolving, because Aquarius is the sign of evolution. So it's time for us to evolve as the new age rulers. Aquarius is the opposite sign of Leo. Leo is the creative ruler. So when you put those two signs together, I know, with Aquarius being the sign of I know I am the creative ruler of the universe in order to activate that power. So we can evolve as the new humanitarian rulers, because the Aquarius is also the sign of the humanitarian. And Leo by itself was an abuse of power. It's time for us to evolve out of the abusive rulership into a humanitarian rulership, you see. And, we've come full circle for that. So everything that can undermine our evolutionary process has to now come to the surface, be exposed, so there can be a purification. And only after there's been purification and cleansing can we go into the healing phase of this ultimate operation. As a matter of fact, I was just hoping that the grand jury would not indict, you see.
Interesting.
Because if we remember, spirit is opposite the physical. And you've heard the phrase, if you take it into your hands, you tie God's hands or spirit's hands. You see.
Right.
So if we had gotten if we had gotten justification at the physical end, there would be no need for the spiritual court to come in. The key to the whole universe is balance. So when there's an injustice physically that is not reconciled, that is how you make a case for spiritual justice to come in and balance out, you see. So I can tell you a story about when I used to live in Atlanta and I was working at this mental health counseling corporation, and there was this my roommate, this black woman who she allowed them to use her as a tool to stab me in the back. And I remember as I was taking my belongings to my car, because they took me out of the regional office and wanted me to go to one of these other offices in Atlanta. I remember as I was taking my belongings to my car, I passed by her car, and I had my keys in my hand, and I said, oh, okay, I should go over there and I should scratch bitch all over her car, And immediately my spirit said, oh, no, you don't. If you do, that's all the punishment she's going to get. If you let spirit do it, it'll do it in a much more worthy manner.
Wow.
So it is time for the spiritual court to come in and justify the imbalance that they will not reconcile at the physical level. And the less you do in the name of physical justice, is the more can be accomplished through spiritual justice. So this is not coincidental. All this is in divine order. It's exposing, you see, the racism. It's exposing the police brutality. It's exposing the nature of black people's existence here. It's exposing it to the world. And so it's like the emperor with no clothes now, you see. There's already been information coming in from the UN condemning the United States for this. The Ayatollah Khomeini, I know I ain't got that right. Yeah, Ayatollah, he from Iraq, I think it was Iraq, he sent a message to Obama saying, how can you be the policeman of the world? How can we trust your help when your own people can't trust you to help them, So, and he signed it Ferguson. So this is the exposure. This is exposing the impurities that have been festering. And they had no intentions of doing anything about it. Everyone admits this has been going on, but there's never anything done about it, you see. The only reason the cops keep doing that is because they have no accountability, you see. There's no repercussions for it. And now the world is trying to hold them accountable for that. So it needed to be exposed so it could be cleansed out and purified, purifying the earth. The daughter Earth is in the thrust of becoming a sacred planet, and she's evolving. I always look at I call myself a holistic. I don't believe in 12 signs. I only believe in 6 signs because you have to put the opposites together to see the whole. It's time for us. We're in the time of fulfillment, so it's time for us to start having a holistic perspective. We can no longer just see things from a physical perspective now. We have to put the physical in balance with the spiritual to understand the whole story. That's where you get, a whole new perspective. So I always identify energy through the elemental God family of energy. Anytime you see the EL, my mantra is follow the trail of the EL. That denotes royalty. That denotes divinity. So the royal family of elements, you see. We can start with the water, which represents Mama, or Mama Universe. She is the energy of unconditional love for her ancestral family. Not just love everybody. It's love for your ancestral family. That's what she brings to the table. She's the nurturer. She's that internal. She speaks to you from within, how you feel. Mama speaks to you through your feelings. She is the master of the soul realm, the subconscious, the Akashic records, the ancient of ancients. Mama is synonymous with ancestry. And it is time for the ancestors because it's time for us to evolve as the new rulers, the new humanitarian rulers for this new Aquarian age. And now our ancestors have come to the forefront as the original rulers, ready to give us the guidance and the instructions on how to step up as the new rulers for the new age. Remember, you have to keep everything in balance. So the ancient rulers are now ready to show the new rulers, how to empower themselves. We still have the same powers our ancestors had. We've only lost memory of it. That's the subconscious. We've lost conscious memory of who we are in our antiquity as the original rulers. see. Now we've come full circle. We've done enough cycles, full circles in our cycles, that it's time now to fulfill this purpose, to step up as the new rulers for the new age. But we got to go internal, to water, to Mama, and let her speak to us emotionally, because that's where we're getting information from our ancient memory, from the soul realm. Mama's soul and its Father's spirit, you see. And also internal is the earth element, which represents the daughter. The daughter always represents the earth. She is security. She's value. At her highest vibration, she is daughter character. You know, and she is the only one who hasn't reached her sacred status in energy. We have Father's Spirit. We have the King with Father's Spirit. We have the Queen with Mama's Soul. We have the Prince with the Son of Power. The only one who hasn't reached her sacred status is Daughter Earth. Not Mother Earth, it's Daughter Earth. It's Mama Universe and Daughter Earth. But Daughter Earth, and internally, she represents our security. She represents our values. She represents our character. So being secure in the value of what we feel is how we access the internal ancient memory, the soul realm, the Akashic records, our ancestors, you see. We're in the throes of transformation and regeneration for evolution. And so that's Scorpio energy. That's that number 8 that keeps coming up. Scorpio is the 8th sign of the zodiac. So it's time for transformation. That means the death of the old for a rebirth of the new at a higher level. So it's now time for us to evolve, to step up, you know, but we have to be secure from within in our original powers. Father brings us spiritual power. Mama brings us ancestral magic. And it's now time for the two to come into equal balance so we can become whole or holistic. That's what God means, holistic. So it's time. We've cultivated and we've mastered externally logic and reason, the air element, and our passions, the fire element. Now it's time to go internal and master in what we feel, and then be secure about what we're feeling coming from our ancient memory as imparted to us through the ancestors, and become whole or holistic. And then we have the, like I said, the fire element represents the sun, S-O-N or S-U-N. S-U-N is the collective power of the black man. So the sun, the Prince of Power, the most powerful being in the universe. The only reason why we've been so disempowered is because, you know, that's the story between Set and Asar. Cut Asar up into those 14 pieces. We're in the year 2014. It's time for those 14 pieces to come together. As a matter of fact, Sagittarius is the energy of Asar. And since we're in 2014, it's time for Asar to come together. The last thing he did not find was his penis, and now it's time for him to claim that penis or his power. And so Sagittarius is Jupiter energy. That's abundance. So this is how the Mayans put it. We ascend from Virgo, that's the last sign in the physical half of the astrological cycle. That's the Virgin Mother who cleanses and purifies. Virgo is the sign of wisdom. So the sun is cleansed and purified through Virgo of false values to this illusion or this matrix, and that allows him to ascend above the horizon line through Libra as he enters the spiritual domain. And as you go into Libra, ascend above the horizon line into the spiritual domain, Libra is the sign of partnership, and it's an air sign. So this is where he gets into equal partnership with his own spirit and become individually whole, or individual Christhood. His mate comes into equal balance with her spirit, and then only then can the two bond. That's Scorpio energy, the next sign, the sign of bonding and transformation. The bonding of the twin souls as they come together, as you come into equal balance with your spirit, your mate comes into equal balance with their spirit, then you can come together as twin souls, bond, and activate the transformation through Scorpio, which the Mayans call the Great Crossover. Or the book that Bobby Hemmett used to recommend all the time called The Celestial Ship of the North. This is the crossover, that's Scorpio energy, transformation. The opposite sign of Scorpio is Taurus. You have to put the opposites to see the full concept. So the Scorpio is transformation. Taurus is the sign of values. So there must be a transformation of values in order to evolve Aquarius into this new age, Aquarius, as the new creative rulers. Leo, those are the 4 fixed signs of the zodiac. On August the 11th, 1999, we had a fixed cross in the sky with the planets. That's what I do. I read the configurations of planets and the energy that unfolds. I see the bigger picture, and then I can put the individual aspect in harmony with that bigger picture. So it's time for us to evolve. So the fixed cross on August 11th, 1999, all the planets were sitting in those 4 fixed signs of the zodiac. August the 11th, of course, is Leo, the fixed fire. Opposite Leo, Aquarius, the fixed air. So that was the evolution for the new age, Aquarius, as the new rulers, new creative rulers, Leo. And then the horizontal axis of that fixed cross was Taurus, Scorpio. So in order to evolve to the next level as the new rulers, we had to have a transformation of value. Take our value out of the illusion. And that's what happens when the sun ascends through Virgo, the Virgin Mother, and to Libra. They can now get in equal partnership with their spirit, become individually whole, or individual Christhood, and they're made, and the two come together as twin souls, which makes the crossover to the great creative place, is what the Mayans call it, which is Sagittarius, where you come to the abundance and the fulfillment of your power. Anytime you're dealing with the fire element, you're dealing with power. And Sagittarius is the last fire sign. So that means your ultimate empowerment, and its energy, its planetary ruler is Jupiter. So that's the abundance, and Jupiter is the great beneficent. It bestows, it enlarges, whatever it touches, it brings in abundance. So it's time to come to the abundance and the fulfillment of his power as a star comes together in his 14 pieces and become fully empowered. That's what we will get through the Sagittarius energy right now. And then that makes him even with, he rules that half of the chart, or the astrological cycle, and then Capricorn, the cardinal Earth, will rule the other half as daughter Earth, as the princess of the royal family. So when a star comes to his full value, Capricorn represents the high priestess. It's the last earth sign. It's the earth represents the daughter, the princess, or the high priestess. In the physical, it represents the black woman, the individual aspect of the black woman, and she's at the bottom of the totem pole in her value, because in opposite spiritual, she is of the highest value. She represents the high priestess. She represents the princess of the royal family. So he comes into equal balance with her when he comes to the fullness of his power, and the two can come together now equally. Remember the movie The Matrix? This is what they were telling us. We got caught up in a lot of spectacular, but it was really the story of the twin souls, because Trinity resurrected Neo. The women are the resurrectors, the men are the redeemers. But we have to first resurrect in order for them to redeem, because a man cannot come out of the matrix in ego. He cannot come out of the matrix in ego. So she had to resurrect him from the dead. And she said, I know you're the one because the oracle told me I would fall in love with the one, and I'm in love with you. Now get your butt up. And that's what he did, you see, because she resurrected him. In layman terms, that's the black woman understanding her value as high priestess and setting standards and challenging her man to rise to meet those standards. That's his resurrection process. And once he's released from the ego, that releases him from the ego, which releases him from the matrix. And that's why in the second matrix, the movie, Neo brings her back to life, but he goes internal and massages her heart. And when she opens her eyes, the first thing she says is, now we're even, or now we're equal. Now we can come together as one. Well, that's what's happening right now with Asar coming together, coming to his fullness. He comes to his equal with her as high priestess, you see, and become whole or holistic. We are in the time of fulfillment. All this that we are seeing now is an exposure so that we can purify and cleanse of those impurities for healing. We cannot heal until those impurities have been identified, cleansed out, and moved out. And then we can heal, you see. And the only one I haven't talked about was the heir, the Father's spirit. He's the righteous spirit. In the physical, he represents the mind, or how we think. Spirit is collective, and physical is individual. So this represents the collective sons as spirit, as the mind, as we get these sons in their passion, the fire, as we become collective in our passion. You see, as the sun, that's how we create, as we focus in our passion as the sun, that is how we create a spirit. That's how you create a spirit, by pooling your energy. Energy is, when you pool your energy, that's how you create a spirit. That's how they've been doing these rituals on us, you know, like with the Super Bowls and the Olympics, because all they have to do is get us to focus our energy. It doesn't matter what you think about what you're focusing on. It's just the fact that you're focusing on it. You can either hate it or love it. It's just the fact that you're energizing it by your focus. And they have become a master in manipulating us mentally to focus on what energy they want to unfold. I've been doing Super Bowl rituals forever and a day. I've been doing the symbolism of those Super Bowl rituals for right after 9/11. It's when my spirit had me start looking at the symbolism of those Super Bowls. And I can tell you this, the last Super Bowl was, the one before that, where we had the Baltimore Ravens and the San Francisco 49ers. That was a mama and son Super Bowl. That was based on mama and son. That was mama releasing the son. Now, in Willie Lynch, as we reverse these energy rotations, they cut off the father, and as a result, the mama ends up smothering the son. The mama represents the water, the son represents the fire. So more water than fire puts out the fire, or the passion, or the power of the sun. And so at the same time, the father and daughter represents the spiritual aspect. You know, energy unfolds from mother to son, then from father to daughter. Energy unfolds that way, but they're opposites. Father and daughter is opposite of mother and son. Mother and son represents the physical half, where father and daughter represents the spiritual half. So if the mother smothers the son, the power of the son, then automatically, in opposite spiritually, the father abandons the value of the daughter. You see. So this is the cycle that they reversed. They took it out of this natural rotation, and this is what's been undermining our power. But it's now time, for that reversal. That's what the 6 cross was all about, because the 6 signs represent the workhorses of the zodiac. I call them the 4 horses of the apocalypse, because on that 6th cross on August the 11th, the 6th fire, we saw fire things. It was time to reverse rulership. Leo is rulership, and it's August the 11th. The sun, wherever the sun is at is what's being focused on. So the sun was in Leo on August the 11th, 1999. And that was 13 years from 2012, when the Mayans 13 Bakatum. And so they was kind of reverse rulership through those that fixed cross. It's even talked about in the Bible, Ezekiel chapter 1. They talk about a cherubim with 4 faces, one with the lion, one with the man, one with the ox, and one with the eagle. Those are the 4 fixed signs of the zodiac. And so Leo, the fixed fire, we saw fire things tearing down the material kingdom. And then the next fixed sign the sun went into was Scorpio, where we saw water things tearing down the material kingdom. And then the next fixed sign the sun went into was Aquarius. Then we saw air things tearing down the material kingdom. And then the last fixed sign was Earth, where we saw earthly things tearing down the material kingdom. And after 4 years, or 4 rotations, all of the energy had been released to tear down this material kingdom, the 4 horses of the apocalypse. And then, now note, this was 8/11, August 11th, and now after 4 years of releasing that energy on November 8th, now we reverse that. We got 11/8. 8/11 or 11/8. Then we get the Star of David in the sky, in planet. And this was telling us how we had been wounded as the God family, and how those wounds are about to be healed, so we can evolve as the new rulers for this new age that is now dawning, you see. And I asked my spirit, I said, why the Star of David? And it took me back to the David and Goliath story. It said, how did David slay Goliath? With a stone. The stone represents the Taurus energy, the first earth sign. And on that Star of David, we had it was like the Star of David was sitting on its side. So you can see the 3 levels. The bottom level, the bottom 2 points at the bottom, you had Father and Mama. You had Saturn representing the Father in Cancer. You had the Mama in Taurus. You see the moon. And then there was a full lunar eclipse on that day. And then on the second level, you had the brother and the sister. You had the sister as Jupiter in Virgo, and you had the brother as Mars in Pisces, you see, where they cut off the father, and the mama then began to compromise her value. So she became the slave master's mistress. She started honoring the white man through materialism, and then she passed that energy to the sister, who began honoring the white man through Jesus, through the boss on her job, and she did not stay true to her brother. And then Mars and Pisces. Pisces is the sign of escapism, and Mars is the energy of sexual energy. So he went into escapism. He went into drugs, alcohol, white women. He did not stay true and defend his sister. And then as we go up to the third level, we had the sun, of course, on November 8th in Scorpio. And then across from him was the daughter, who was represented as Chiron in Capricorn. Now, Chiron is the wounded healer. Chiron is the ancient wounds. In your chart, if you were to look in your chart at your Chiron, it would be the wounds you experienced in childhood, and how subconsciously, how you suppress those wounds subconsciously, and how you heal from those wounds is how you make your transformation and teach others to heal from those same wounds. So the sun in Scorpio, the lowest vibration of Scorpio is obsessive and controlling. So he becomes controlling and obsessive with the daughter because he doesn't trust the mom, because she has compromised her value. And the only one who did not compromise her value was the daughter in Chiron. She's in Capricorn. She stayed true to her value as a black woman. And that's why she has been rejected in her value. So, and he has become controlling and abusive to her. So in the healing process, you see, the father comes back to unconditional love. The because it was Saturn in Cancer. Cancer is the sign of unconditional love. So that means in his wounded state, he had become conditional in his love to the family. So now in healing, he comes back to the love of his family. And the mama comes back into the value of her work, you see. The sister starts compromising her value for materialism, and the brother now begins to defend. That's her rule. That's her rule. The brother Mars, Aries energy, we're talking about her rule. He's the defender of the value of his true mate. And that's what that last Super Bowl represented with the Seahawks, the Seattle Seahawks with the Denver Broncos, because the Freemason magic headquartered in Denver. The 33 degrees of magic is headquartered in Denver. So the Seahawks represented Haru, who had, and that's why they gave such a whipping to the Denver Broncos, because the Haru indicates 360-degree magic or empowerment. So that's why they whooped up so bad on Denver, to show the power we now have access and how much more powerful we are over the 33 degrees of power that they've been using to control the world. So as we go to the brother Haru now comes back to defending his sister, and then on the third level, the son. Now, when I asked my spirit why the star David, and it took me back to the David and Goliath story, how did David slay Goliath with a stone? Well, the very first earth sign is Taurus. Taurus would represent the stone. The moon was in Taurus, which was the mama. And there was a lunar eclipse that day, which symbolizes the mama passing the stone of value to the sun, because Taurus is opposite Scorpio. So she passes the stone of value to the sun, who then transforms. Scorpio is the energy of transformation. He transforms emotionally, because it's a water sign, so we're dealing emotionally. He transforms emotionally and redeems the value of the daughter and lifts her up. How do you take down Goliath? You see, white man is the polar opposite of black woman. In order for him to be up, she has to be down. That's what the rules of wilderness were meant to do. Keep the black woman down so the white man can stay up in his energy. So how do you take him down? You simply lift her up. He automatically goes down. So when the son transforms and redeems the daughter, lifts her up in her value, that's how he takes down Goliath, or the lie, you see. So this is what the Star of David was telling us, you see. So it's time to heal those wounds. It's time for us to come back into our royal status. But not all black folks is royal, as my spirit told me. And they're comfortable with the peasants. What's that?
No, I was going to say, please explain that.
I remember walking out my door when I was living in Greensboro, North Carolina, and I saw my white neighbor walking down the street holding hands with her black boyfriend. And I just said to myself, why? How can they get so comfortable with them? And, I would love to be walking down the street with my black boyfriend. I don't have one. They got him. And at that time, my spirit said, all black folks ain't royal, and they're comfortable with the peasants as peasants. So I'm now going to stop calling myself black. I'm going to start calling myself melanated, because anybody can call themselves black. Okay? Everybody qualifies. They just look like it, and they'll call themselves black, but it's not true. You are what your mama is. You are what your mama is, okay? So, so we don't really have a black president. And I'm going to keep saying that till I'm blue in the face, you see. You are what your mama is. Like I said, you pass the melanin through the
Is that because the mother carries the mitochondria DNA?
Absolutely. That's how you go back into your ancestry, your antiquity, and that's how they trace your lineage through that mitochondrial DNA. But it's actually because now each parent does contribute, but they contribute particular DNA. And when it comes to the color gene, that's the mama's domain. You know, the white mama, her color gene is dormant. She doesn't have the melanin to pass to her child, you see. And the black mama will pass it through her breast milk and her blood. You know, her blood and her breast milk. So if you didn't breastfeed, it doesn't say you didn't pass it. It just says it came through the blood, you see. So she passes that melanin to her child. Well, the white mama doesn't have the melanin to pass to her child, but her child takes the illusion of color because the father, you know, it's just like dropping a few drops of black paint into a gallon of white. It's going to flavor the appearance of color.
Right.
So that is why. Antiquity, mama is mama's soul. She's our antiquity. She's the ancient of ancients. When I talk about all color vibrations black, you can get no color out of any other color but black. Black brings all colors out. We're talking vibrations, okay? So that's the original black mama I'm talking about. I'm talking energy. I'm not talking personal. And we've got to be able to differentiate between physical and spiritual, and the two together in harmony and balance. That's how you get a holistic view. So we get confused when we only look at things and gauge things only from a physical perspective. We got to put the physical in balance with the spirit. There's always going to be an opposite reflection at equal level. At equal level, there's always going to be an opposite reflection to see the whole. And if you're not looking at the whole, then it's still an illusion. It's not real. There has to be a 360-degree cycle before it becomes real, you see. You can be one iota outside of that 360-degree cycle, and it's still in an aberrant rotation. It's not complete. It's not whole. It's not real until it is whole. So that's the equal balance. Like you said, as above, so below. As without, so within. Masculine, feminine. The ultimate balance is masculine with feminine, and physical and spiritual. All four of those have to be in harmony in order to generate the power. I always equate it to the four pistons in an engine. All four pistons have to be firing at their maximum to harmonize with each other and generate the power. You don't blend energy. You have to harmonize energy. You have to balance energy. You don't blend energy. And you have to balance the spirit with the soul. Father's spirit, the righteous spirit, with mama's soul in order to become whole or holistic. They don't have the soul component. They do have the spirit, but they don't have the soul. The melanin is what gives us that fluidity to balance energy. It's the oil. It's the conductor of energy. And it gives us the ability to harmonize that energy. That's what puts us at the top of the hierarchy as the spiritual rulers, you see, because we can harmonize and balance energy. And now that the ancestors are coming to the forefront, you see, they need the vessel as much as the vessel needs them spiritually. So as we now channel and harmonize with our ancestor spirits as the physical vessels, this is how they will give us the influence and the guidance on how to step up as the new rulers in this new age of Aquarius that just blossomed. But remember, there's many levels and layers. I remember when I was young and I was reading the Bible, and I remember reading the part where they were talking about Moses went to Pharaoh and said, "Let my people go." So Pharaoh lets the people go. And then the part that got me was when they said, God hardened Pharaoh's heart to go after them. I said, why would God do that? You know, because what we got to understand is there's many levels of this operation, many layers. So no matter what they're doing, they're only doing what they've been manipulated to do from a higher level. It's all about the negative and positive polarity, and the positive and negative polarity. Somebody, to the extent that you suffer, is to the extent that you will now bring back an opposite reward spiritually. Remember, they're opposites. But we have to fulfill the full suffering. We have to fulfill the full sacrifice in order for there to be a measure made of the sacrifice so that you can bring back in the same measurement in spiritual reward. So that is what is going on. That's why it's taking so long. That's why it's happening the way it is. So somebody has to play the heavy in order for us to get the right spiritual response. It's like I started off talking about, I was hoping they wouldn't indict, because if they had taken it into the physical hands, if the physical court had done the right thing, you see, then there would be no need for the spiritual to come in and correct the situation. And to the extent that you made the sacrifices, to the same extent that you shall now be rewarded. But we take the hit on a personal level. We're the sacrificial lamb that takes the hit on a personal level, but it makes a case for the Spirit to come in and correct the situation, you see. But it won't correct it so much personally, but it will correct the system that has contributed to your personal sacrifice. And we are now at the point of culmination and fulfillment. And not only are we about to get the reward from our own personal suffering and sacrifices, we are about to be rewarded from the sacrifices of our ancestors. This is how we are stepping up as the new rulers, off of the back of the suffering of our ancestors. So it's just got to be many levels and many levels and layers of this operation. So many cycles produce, whatever spiritual operation, there's a particular number of cycles that has to be fulfilled in order to open up that energy. So we keep seeing one precept upon precept as we go through layer and layer of this operation. And whatever they're doing to us is because they have been manipulated to do that. So that can make a way to bring back in opposite return. The law of karma. We have reached that juncture. That's the winter solstice, December 21st, is where we're dealing with the law of the return of the Father, Saturn. The return of the Father, because at the winter solstice we go into Capricorn. Capricorn's planetary ruler is Saturn. That's the father of daughter Earth. So when we cross that December 21st point, that is where we will see the return of Father Spirit, the righteous Spirit, to bring justice and harmony and equality. See, Saturn has gotten a bad name because he's the one that will restrict us and limit us and put obstacles in our way. And when we overcome those obstacles with integrity, that's how we reach the supreme empowerment. We have to prove. Like I said, when the white man abused his power, he screwed up the world. If the black man abused his power, it'll have cosmic significance. So this whole process has been an alchemical process, turning what is mortal into immortals, turning what is man into gods. So we have to prove, we have to qualify as the new rulers by demonstrating that we will use our powers to heal and to create rather than to destroy, because it would be too detrimental cosmically. So when Saturn challenges you and chastises you and limits you and restricts you, and if you overcome those limitations with integrity, that's how you prove yourself worthy of gaining the next level of spiritual empowerment, you see. There's only one sin, and that's the abuse of power. I don't care how much power you're given. Are you going to use it compassionately, or are you going to use it abusively? And that is how we will be judged. That is how everyone is judged, you see. So we have to prove that we would use that power. We can't gain this full empowerment from the universe and then take it personal. Somebody steps on our toes and we're like, off with your head. You know, we can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And the universe is making sure that we qualify. That's also what I mean by all black folks ain't royal. You know, it's all about your vibration. And even though all black people have access to melanin, they have to reach a certain level in their vibration in order to activate the melanin, you see. And those who are not lifting their vibrations and activating that melanin to its highest vibration of royalty, they're still peasants. They're still soulless. They are just like the white man. That's why they said peasants, comfortable with the peasants as peasants, because you have to lift your vibration to the highest level of the universe in order to activate the melanin and gain the power, harmonize those energies in equal balance, you see. You have to be vibrating at a certain level to do that. That's the highest royal level. The 4 ingredients of the 4 royal God family through the elements, it shows you the characteristics you have to demonstrate in your energy to qualify and activate your melanin. Mama soul, that means unconditional love for your ancestral family. And then Father spirit, the air element, that means the righteous spirit, righteousness. The son of power, that's the fire, the passion. You have to have the desire and the passion to do right. And then the daughter earth, the earth element is character, the spirit of character. So it's not until you're vibrating at the highest vibrations of those royal energies do you access that power. So that's character, righteousness, the desire to defend what's right, and then what's fair, and then the unconditional love for your ancestral family. Like I said, it's not about love everybody. It's about loving your ancestral family. And when you demonstrate those 4 qualities, that's when you've activated your melanin. That's when you have access to the highest resources of the universe. And that's what that Super Bowl was telling us last year. You know, and like I said, the year before that with the San Francisco 49ers, the soul vibration is 13. That's mama's vibration. That's the magical vibration is 13. They've been keeping us on a 9th vibration. They've been keeping us stagnated on a 9th vibration. It wasn't until November the 8th, the date of the Star of David, November the 8th, 2013, that we got bump started off of that 9th cycle of stagnation, which put us on the 10th level of vibration, which puts us in range to the 13th vibration, which is the magical one. So the soul realm. So the 49ers, if you add up 49, what you get? You get 13. San Francisco, when I looked up its energy, it's Cancer. Cancer represents the mama. When you looked up the Baltimore Ravens, it's Leo, the sun, you see. So that was another sun Super Bowl. And in this Super Bowl, the mama releases the sun from artificial empowerment. That is why the lights went out for 34 minutes. It was mama detaching the sun from artificial empowerment and reinserting him into his cosmic empowerment. It's for his resurrection. That's what that Super Bowl was demonstrating. And that's why in the next Super Bowl we got the Seahawks, which is Haru, because the son had been resurrected. Now he becomes Haru. Haru is the defender. He's the first. He rules over the first quarter of the astrological cycle. He rules over Aries, Taurus, and Gemini. Gemini is the lovers. In the tarot deck, it represents the lovers. So Taurus represents the sign of value, and Aries represents the warrior who defends the value, Taurus, of his true mate, Gemini. That is Haru. And that's what we got at that last Super Bowl. We got Haru demonstrating full access to 360 degrees of power. For 3 quarters, it was 0 points, just like the Mayans said, 0 points. The Denver had 0 points for 3 quarters. They scored 8 in the last quarter. And and now we're getting ready to step into Asar. The sun, Haru, the sun, it started with the sun, the resurrection of the sun, Baltimore, Leo. Then it went to Haru in the last Super Bowl, the Seattle Seahawks. If you look, sea is water, which is mama, and Haru, and the Seahawks, the hawk-headed deity is Haru. So that's where we get mama's son, Haru, with the Seattle Seahawks. And so that was the step up into the brother. And then now we're looking at Sagittarius, Asar, us coming to our full empowerment. You see how those people are responding. The whole world is responding to Ferguson and New York and Cleveland, you see. Now we can say what we want. What do you want? You know, what do you want us to do? You see, nobody can deny the value of what needs to be done. That is us coming into our full empowerment. But it's not going to be done by man's hands. They've told you that over and over. It's not going to be by man's hands. It's going to be by Spirit's hands. And so if man had done what he should have done, then there would be no need for the Spirit come in. So that was intentionally done. How are you going to see 2 cases back to back where they're not going to bring an indictment when it's so evidently clear? That was not done because, the Spirit used their redneck attitude because it did not want them to indict. So we can come back in full force from the spiritual opposite. Remember, anytime you pool your energy is how you create a spirit. We got demonstrations going on all across the nation. We got people all over the world watching, chastising. None of that would have been recognized. If they had brought an indictment in the Michael Brown case, you see, it would have ended there. That would have been it. Would have went to trial, and they'd have done the same thing they did with Trayvon Martin. Put on a sham court, not even having any intention of indicting or convicting, you see, and he walks away scot-free. That's what would have happened if they had have indicted. But since they didn't, then you left it up to Spirit. And then because it happened a second time, because like I said, you have to pool your energy. You know how they say, well, more than one are called in my name, so shall I be. That is Father Spirit. Spirit is a combination of energy. There has to be a combination. So we got 2 cases where they did not indict. And then how many cases we've gotten where they've been still killing these unarmed black children. And the cop is going to call this boy a demon. And the grand jury bought that, calling him a demon. He puffed up and ran through bullets. He's trying to describe how he was in fear for his life because you have a grown policeman with a gun having to prove that he was so afraid for his life that it justified him shooting this unarmed. So he goes to the extent of calling him, he looked like a demon. He he looked at me like he was mad because I was shooting him. That is ludicrous. But yet and still you got a grand jury that bought into this. So it's not just the police. You know, it's not just, it's the system. The system has to fall. It's corrupted. It's corroded. There's no fixing this. There's no propping it up. There's no making it right. It has to go. This is transformation time. Death of the old, rebirth of the new at a higher level, and they know it. They know what time it is. They're actually doing this purposely. They are just the great intimidators. They know they have no power over us. It's only if we believe they have power over us that we give them the power over us. They can only create an illusion. And as we buy into the illusion, we're the ones energizing it for them. They know exactly what time it is. And they're trying to get us, what undermines our power is doubt, fears, and guilt. That's why we got to go internal to our ancient memory and be secure from within of the powers we are being passed through our ancestors. It's not going to come externally. It's got to come internally. We got to be secure in that power because they are nothing but the great intimidators. They have to intimidate you into believing they have power over you. And if you believe it, then that's how you have to invite a vampire in, okay? It may be blood on the physical level, but on the spiritual level, it's energy. You have to invite a vampire in. So they've convinced us that we're helpless without them. They will create the problem only for us to turn to them to resolve the problem. But if we are secure from within in our own empowerment, it doesn't work. That's how we lift our vibration, and that's how we have access to the forces of the universe. Daughter Earth has to get back in harmony with the universal flow of things. The principles, what I'm teaching are the spiritual principles of righteousness. This is what guides the universal flow of energy. Daughter Earth has been going contrary, and that's why the reversal has to occur so she can get back in harmony with the larger flow of the universal energy based on the principles of righteousness. So that is what is going on right now. It's Daughter Earth, Mama Soul. She's the spirit of character. We've been undermining character for materialism and for the matrix. Matrix, Ma of tricks, and the materialism is the Ma of terror. And we have been undermining the value of Daughter Earth for those materialisms and this matrix. And now it's time for her to evolve. She's the evolving princess. And so she's now stepping up into her sacred status, and it's time for her to shake off the parasites. She is the spirit of character. And if you're not contributing in character, then you're considered a parasite. And this is who she's shaking off right now. So she can step up and complete the God family. Like I said, the queen with Mama Universe, the king with Father Spirit, the prince with the Son of Power, S-U-N. The only one who hasn't reached her sacred status is Daughter Earth. But she's the evolving princess. And once she evolves into her sacred status as the princess or the high priestess, that is when we become a star system. It completes us as a star system, and that puts her in the position to go into marriage with Anubis of the Sirius star system, which is the ancient rulership, now coming into balance with this new age rulership that is now evolving. And this is what will reverberate throughout the cosmos. This is the bigger story of what is being told here. And we can't just give in to the individual aspects of that. We have to put it all together for this holistic meaning. This is a very wonderful time. There's something I do want to read right quick. I read this when I did the Hemet Summit at the end. It's called A Hopi Elder Speaks. It says, you have been telling people that this is the 11th hour. Now you must go back and tell the people that this is the hour, and there are things to be considered. Where are you living? What are you doing? What are your relationships? Are you in right relations? Where is your water? Know your garden. It is time to speak your truth, create your community, be good to each other, and do not look outside yourself for the leader. Then he clasped his hands together and smiled and said, this could be a good time. There is a river flowing now, that's the spiritual flow, very fast. It is so great and swift that there are those who will be afraid. They will try to hold on to the shore, the physical. They will feel they're being torn apart and will suffer greatly. No, the river has its destination. The elders say we must let go of the shore, push off into the middle of the river, keep our eyes open and our heads above water. And I say, see you and forth, do I take nothing personal, least of ourselves, for the moment that we do, we don't enter into home. The time of the long work is over. Gather yourselves. Banish the word struggle from your attitude and vocabulary.
Wow.
All that we do now must be done in a sacred manner and in celebration. We are the ones we've been waiting for.
That was a dynamic, Sister Myrah. I didn't get a chance to ask any questions, and I definitely didn't want to interrupt you because you was going off. We definitely got to do a part two, Sister Myrah.
Yes.
Well, before we give the people your number, Sister Myrah, how can they contact you? Because I told everybody the first show how amazing your reading was for me in 2005 when I got it. And I want the people to reach out to you all over the world to let them know.
Oh, they did. You it was an onslaught. You know, and they mentioned the fact that you talked about, my reading for you, and I've gotten calls. I've done readings in Africa. I've done 3 readings out of the UK. I got someone calling me from the Netherlands. It's just so amazing how far this message, and it's resonated with people. That's what they told me. It resonated with them. And I feel like it was a calling of the Spirit. I think whoever responds, it's like a calling of the Spirit. And they're coming and they're getting their marching orders as to what they can do to step up and contribute to this overall process. So, and the calls haven't stopped. Yeah, I was almost afraid to do this next show.
You totally did.
Okay, so my number is 336, area code, 336-965-0180. And just please leave a message because, like I said, I'm getting so many calls. I have to screen. So please leave a message. If you don't leave a message, I won't respond. Leave a message, I will get back to you, I promise. It may take me a few days, and now that all these calls are coming in, it may take me a few days longer, but I do promise that anyone who calls and leave a message, I will respond.
Definitely, family, world, holla at Sister Myrah. I will never forget the day 5505. I got it on the cassette tape, 5505. You changed my life forever when you told me about who I was about to meet, the career I was about to embark on. So I'm living testimonies. So,
Wow. And I'm just a vessel. I'm just a vessel for Spirit, honey. It's not me. Like when they get my card readings, I tell them this is a message coming directly from your Spirit. It's not about believing me. It's about believing the message coming from your Spirit. Nobody can give you anything your Spirit ain't already given you. They can only validate and confirm it. You see, so it's just me. I'm a vessel. I'm a Capricorn, so that's the sign of integrity. And in order to deal with the higher level spirits, you have to be a vessel of integrity. That they will immediately vacate and the lower trickster spirits will come in. So it's because I stay true to the integrity of the message. It's not my message. It's the Spirit's message.
Indeed.
Get your hand out my pocket! Yo, this is Mr. X. And this is Mrs. S.
And I'm the host of the new radio podcast, Get Your Hand Out My Pocket. You can catch us on SoundCloud. You can catch us on Facebook. You can catch us anywhere. I need y'all to listen. Check us out. We love y'all. Love us. It's about black society, black love, black racism, white supremacy, whatever you want to talk about with regards to the black community. First take was good. Be sure to check us out at
Get Your Hand Out My Pocket.
Peace.
Get your hand out of my pocket!
Peace, family, and welcome to another episode of Underground Railroad Radio. Today, we have a new guest with us today, Sister Myrah. Now, Sister Myrah is an astrologer. How you doing, Sister Myrah?
I'm doing fine, Brother Rich. Thank you.
Now, before you introduce yourself, I just want I want you to give your contact information. Right before we start anything, I want everybody to take the time to get a pen and a pad or whatever they got to get to write down your contact information. Because this lady's incredible. And the reason why I say she's incredible, I lost the contact. If you're wondering if she's incredible, why haven't you had her on the show yet? I lost the sister's contact. I just got it back from Brother Carl Murray. Got a reader from her. She does readings over the phone. Absolutely amazing. But just to let the viewers know, I got a reading from Sister Myrah back in 2005. And the sister was so on point that it's absolutely amazing. From what she told me about what was about to happen with my career, what was about to happen as far as my personal relationship, what was going on in my life at the present time. She did a tarot reading for me, and she also did an astrological reading for me. So it's absolutely amazing, and I advise everybody, the sister's very reasonable with the prices. But before we get in the show, Sister Myrah, I'm going to need your contact information, but I want you to personally tell the people how to contact you if they want a reading, because from personal experience, sister, and I haven't gone to a lot of people for readings, I can count them on one hand, but from personal experience, you are absolutely amazing when it comes to your reading, Sister Myrah. So I want to give you the opportunity to give the people your contact information. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you so much. This is the kind of feedback I love. I tell everybody I'm a sucker for feedback, because then it lets me know I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. The best way to contact me is by phone, and that number is 336-965-0180. That's 336-965-0180. And when you do call me, make sure you leave a message. If you don't leave a message, I don't respond. So it takes a message to respond. It's almost like my filing system. So if I don't recognize your number, I need a message so that I can respond. And also you can reach me. My email address is Myrah. That's MOSSMYRA, Myrah @yahoo.com. And also I'm on Facebook. That's about the only other medium I'm on, and that's under Sister Myrah, and that's SISTARMYRAH. So that is my Facebook page, and you can message me there. I do astrological readings as well as the card readings, spiritual consultations, and right now I'm also teaching a class, a 9-week course, and teaching you in the first beginners to intermediate, I'm teaching you the fundamentals of astrology, and then in the second course, we're going to really stretch out, and we're going to do some, now that we got the fundamentals, then we're going to put the juice behind it. So fantastic class. I'm getting great feedback from my clients. I'm doing that on a one-on-one basis. So anytime you're ready, you let me know, and we'll set the classes on a one-on-one basis, and so it's not that you have to be in any particular time, to do this course. So
Real,
those are my credentials.
real quick before we get started. Listen, family, the sister's so on point. She sent me an audio video cassette. Back then, we still was using cassettes a little something back then. 2005 is when I got to read it from the sister Myrah. And it was on May 5th, 2005, 5505. I got it written down on a cassette.
Wow.
The sister told me, y'all, I would meet a Sagittarius energy on 5505. And I met the woman I'm with today, which is, we're in the year 2014. I met her on 5/19/05. So about, 13 days later or whatever it is later after Sister Myrah told me, and my girl's a Sag. So 13 days after you told me that, I met a Sag and been in my life ever since then, and it's 2014. So this is what I'm saying, family, like, they don't hear me vouching people this often or whatever, you know what I'm saying? You got to be really about it, but that's how I know you on point with your stuff. But I didn't realize that, I didn't make the connection, y'all, to the Sister Myrah tape and the woman I met 2 years later. I was like, oh, shit, Sister Myrah told me this years ago. So it took me a while to, put two and two together, but definitely contact her. Rewind it if you have to. It would definitely benefit your life, but I want to start off, Sister Myrah. A lot of things going on. On. Myrah, you've been, and I got some questions for you. We only got about 45 minutes an hour. I want to get in, but I had to do that intro for you, Sister Myrah. But before we get started, a basic question, Sister Myrah. Sister Myrah. The way it's situated for a lot of people, especially those that we call black in this living at this time, we got a lot going on day to day, our daily activities, from working to children to taking care of our household expenses and things of that nature. When somebody comes across and talks about astrology, it's viewed as though I gotta take care of some basic fundamental things. How in the hell is this going to help me when I'm taking care of these basic fundamental things? So although we know we're cosmic people, I'm not going to say we, but people tend, because I don't, but people tend to negate or just to ignore the astrological factors involved or the cosmic or the spiritual factors involved because of the mundane activities. It's like a survival mechanism. Bobby used to call it a survival mechanism. They got us function on a survival mechanism where anything outside of bills and day-to-day and, we might want to get a beer or something just to unwind or smoke some weed. Anything other than that or TV, people don't want to hear it because they're so wrapped up in their day-to-day activities. So my question, Sister Myrah, is what exactly is astrology and how can it benefit our people right now in our day-to-day activities?
Yes. Absolutely. And I call myself an energy master, and I use astrology to identify energy. Energy is what makes the whole universe go around. So if you are more aware of how the energy of the universe is influencing your energy, we have a whole universe of energy within us, and how we harmonize that energy with the universal energy is how we're guided by the universe. And you must know that at this time, this is a grand time to be in. We're in a time of transformation and regeneration for evolution, for the evolutionary age of Aquarius. Aquarius is the sign of evolution. So understanding the energy and how you can harmonize your personal universal energy with the flow of this cosmic energy to get in harmony, because things are happening right now, simultaneous with the demise of the system is the rise of our outreach now to higher vibrations of energy. We now have access to the highest vibration of royal energy so that we can begin to create our own reality. This is healing time. This is the time of fulfillment
What used to work no longer will have the power, and what never worked before only now has the power. And it's our responsibility to step up and contribute to this larger purpose and balance out. We are the sacrificial lamb. That means we take the hit at the personal level to open a case for the spiritual righteous course to come in and balance out that energy. So it has to fix the system that contribute to your personal struggle, you see. So now we have to contribute to the whole in order to, in other words, we have to contribute our energy to a larger holistic purpose, which will come around, will spiral around, spirit is spiral, which will spiral around and then benefit you at a personal level. I call myself a holistic. That means I only see 6 signs versus 12 signs, because you have to put the two opposites together in order to see the whole. And it's not real until it's holistic. So it has to make a complete 360-degree cycle to encompass all the energy of the universe and put it at our disposal, to create this reality. So we must become holistic. That means we have to put an equal balance. The formula of creation is the equal balance of opposites. Wherever you can balance opposites equally is where you have the capacity to create power. So now is time. We've been in the Father's domain. He's the external, the masculine, the air and fire. The air is dealing with our logic and reason and our mind, how we think, which is connected to spirit. And then we have been and then the sun, which is the fire element, which is our passion, and it's connected to our power. So now we have to come back full circle. Everything started Nature Oracle, which is the feminine, the internal, the hidden. So we have a subconscious realm and we have a conscious realm, an external and an internal. And how we balance those two out is how we then come into our wholeness, which is our godhood, our individual Christhood. And this is how we then become whole. And this is how we then activate our spiritual power, you see. So now we've reached that, we've completed enough cycles to where it's now time to evolve. No more reincarnation. Now it's time to evolve to the next level of spiritual empowerment. And we are in the throes of transformation and regeneration. This is why that number 8 keeps coming up, because the 8th sign of the zodiac is Scorpio. So it's the transformative energy. And another significant number is the 11, which is Aquarius energy, the 11th sign of the zodiac. So that's the gateway. That's the spiritual gateway that is now evolving us, as the new healed rulers for this new humanitarian rulership out of an abusive rulership.
So I guess that's why
understand that everything is about balance. The whole universe is about balance. There has to be an opposite reflection. And to the extent that you make the physical sacrifice, is to the extent that you will now bring back an opposite spiritual reward. And we've crossed over into reward time. It's now time, so that's why it's always the darkest before the dawn. We see the worst. The worst has to come to the surface in order for it to be cleansed, purified, and only then can healing begin. And then that is how we then cross over and bring back at the same measure that we've made a sacrifice as to how much we will then be rewarded spiritually. See, a lot of people don't understand that the spiritual and the physical are opposites. You can't serve two masters. You don't blend energy. You balance energy. You harmonize energy. And we have to make a complete 360 cycle in order to have equal balance, 180 on one end, 180 on the other end. And this is how we then complete that cycle, open up the vortex to bring and manifest the power. And we only complete that cycle just to give us access to the next level, where we'll start a new cycle at a higher level. This is an infinite process.
You know,
don't get there. It's an infinite process. And we are now getting ready to benefit, not just from our own personal struggles, but going all the way back to the struggles and the sacrifices of our ancestors. Our ancestors are so important right now because they are the spiritual influence on the front line, ready to teach us as the original rulers of the earth how we now can step back up into our rulership. We are now ready to evolve as the new rulers, new humanitarian rulers for the new age off the back of the suffering of our ancestors. That's what qualified us for this new rulership at this time.
Well, I mean, you said a lot with that first answer. You said a lot that had a lot of things going through my mind. A lot of questions just came from just that alone. One of them being, the question of the year, or the question that people always ponder when they see so many things going on with black people. And I guess you sort of answered it when you was talking about the sacrifice and going through the ultimate darkness to get to the ultimate light. But people always ask, and I get it from what I like to do, Sister Myrah. I understand that we live in a relative, the world is relative. We see things from different perspectives, and we like to say right and wrong all the time. Sometimes you can have different perspectives, and you could say that completely opposite things, and both people could be right based on their perspective that they're coming from. Now, in terms of, why did black people have to go through what they went through? Because the stuff we see is just like, God damn, on the news, on the TV, in the media, in the school system, in the prison system, as far as the foods we eat in the hospitals. It's like an all-out attack. You hear people saying, since it's first class wealth and white supremacy is a global system. This shit ain't just American. You can go halfway across the world and experience
Absolutely.
this. So it's like the question has always been with the black community, why the hell, what did we do to go through this? God damn, we must have did some shit. Like what we did, like shit, we had to do something.
Oh, honey, this is an alchemical process.
Right.
An alchemical process.
So what I'm saying
That's
is,
what it is.
I've gotten perspectives from a lot of different aspects, the political, and this is what I enjoy doing is I enjoy not just being limited to one perspective and opening my mind and hearing different points of view. And I'm glad to have you from an astrological perspective. And you just said alchemical, and I want you to elaborate on that. Why did we go through what we went through, Sister Myrah, from this astrological perspective?
Because it's everything. It started like you said, matriarchal, came around full spiral, full circle, came through the patriarchal half. Now it's coming full circle. The royalty, the original rulers have been usurped by the peasants, and now it's time for us to step back up to that rulership. When the white man abused his power, he screwed up the world. If the black man abuses his power, it will have cosmic significance. So before he could be endowed with his full empowerment, he had to learn how to use his powers to heal and to create rather than to destroy, because it would be too detrimental cosmically. So this is a process so that, before we can be endowed, they have a star system called the Regulus star system. It's connected with Leo, which is rulership. And the only way you can access that vibration of energy is that you have to prove that you are a righteous ruler, that you will not abuse that power. We had to learn from our predecessors how to use our power and not abuse it, you see. And so in order to be endowed with that power, you can't gain this power and then somebody come and step on your foot, and you're like, well, off with your head, you know. You can't take it personally. So you have to learn what's best for the whole is what will come around and benefit you personally. So when we were all at a higher consciousness, we chose to come in. We programmed the universe through our astrological energy to come in and walk the path that would challenge us in areas that would promote our growth spiritually and fulfill a purpose spiritually. And when we fell into the flesh, we forgot to.
We forgot.
And as we line back up with our spirit, as we overcome the challenges, see, we have to face these challenges to realize that they are only illusionary. It's not until we actually face those challenges that we can discover the power that we have from within. Rather than looking external, we'll have to turn internal. We have to go into the subconscious. Our power comes from the subconscious. That's our ancient memory. That's the entry into the soul realm. That is Mama's domain. That is internal, you see. So it's now time for us to learn, as we've mastered on the external, as we've mastered in the Father and Son, the air and the fire. Now is the time that we have to, once you've mastered on one end, then you have to cross over to the opposite and put it in equal balance. And then is when it becomes whole. It completes the 360 cycle, and that is when we can manifest that power. So now it's time for us to learn how to master in the internal realm, and it's to the same extent that we've mastered our power in the external. This is now the time to learn how to master it from the internal. Now, this brings us back to our antiquity. See, Mama's soul tells you your ancestry, where you came from, your antiquity. Father's spirit is the one who tells you your destiny, your spiritual destiny. So now we have to come back full circle, back to our ancestors, you see, who can then teach us, how to utilize power we now have access to step up as the new humanitarian rulers, which is Aquarian age, out of the abuse of power, where they have abused their power strictly through the Leo energy. But putting two halves together, Leo has to come into balance with Aquarius. We just got into the Aquarian age. And as we balance out that Aquarius with the Leo, that is what is going to evolve us from the abuse of power to a humanitarian empowerment. This is the larger picture of what's happening right now. This is really a fabulous time. My spirit has told me that I can no longer talk about, the detrimental things of this process. Now it's time to make everyone aware. When they took Neo to the Oracle in the movie The Matrix, and he was doubting he was the one. He did not know he was the one. And that is why the Oracle said, well, look, you're not the one. I don't know what you're waiting on, maybe your next life. And then she pointed at the sign above the door that said, know thyself. If you don't know you're the one, then you're not. It takes you knowing you're the one to activate that power. Well, Aquarius is the opposite sign of Leo. Aquarius, and that's the age we just went into, December 21st, 2012, yes, we did enter the Aquarian age. It's just that spirit is spiral, so it had to come back full circle to December 21st, 2013 before that cycle was complete and we could open up, benefiting from that energy. So now we are in a position where we can access the vibration at a level where we can start now activating power from within, that comes from our ancient memory. So all this is a process of transformation, regeneration, for evolution, you see, into the New Age rulers and a humanitarian rulership out of an abusive one. But we have to first be healed from the wounds that have, undermined our knowing. When you look at Leo, Leo is the creator ruler. Aquarius, going into Aquarian age, Aquarius is the sign of I know. So when you put those two in balance, you have I know I am the creative ruler of the universe in order to activate that rulership. We've moved out of the Piscean age, which is the age of I believe. And someone has manipulated what we believe, and they polluted our subconscious. And so now, as we go into the Aquarian age, which will balance out with Leo, then is where we evolve as the new humanitarian rulers as we put those two energies in balance with one another. I know I am the creative ruler of the universe in order to activate that empowerment. That's where we're at right now. We're right at that junction.
Now, Sister Myrah, I always, the past couple of years, we've had a lot of speakers within the conscious lecture circuit, and also, all throughout YouTube, they all talk about us going from going into this age where the feminine energy is going to be powerful. Bobby Hemmett, one of the teachers that I learned a lot from Bobby Hemmett.
Absolutely, me too.
Yeah. Shout out to the brother Bobby Hemmett, him and his family. Send my prayers to speedy recovery. He always talked he was one of the main male speakers that throughout the early 2000s I listened to that always talked about feminine energy, the return of this feminine energy. Then as the years went by, I heard more and more people talking about it. Now, I've also heard people say that the so-called powers that be know what energy is about to hit the planet, and they try to usurp the energy. They usurp it. So me and Black Dot was building one day, and we were saying, we was talking about all the homo shit going on, and we did they try to usurp this feminine energy, and this is why they pushing this homo agenda, and it's being successful?
Absolutely.
So I
got it.
I want you to get in that, because there's this feminine energy, but they know how it's coming down, and they try to put a little twist on it. So please go into that, Sister Myrah.
Okay, the ultimate warfare right now. The ultimate warfare is the white degenerate father versus the black regenerate mother or mama. So if you're not regenerating, you're automatically degenerating. You see. So now the lines are being drawn. This is no longer a personal battle. It's too big for us. Our wounds have been passed down generationally. Now we need cosmic mama and spiritual father, you see, which is divine intervention going on. You see, this is all part of this divine plan. So, yes, you're going to either regenerate or degenerate. And if you're degenerating, you're coming under the auspices of the lower level entity. You see, this is a warfare. This is a spiritual warfare of dominions and principalities now. It's not personal. As personal as it gets for you, if you're degenerating, then you're under the auspices and the truth of the lower level entities, and you'll be used as a pawn, for those entities. But at the same token, at the same rate, at the same level and the same rate that we see the demise of the system at the same rate that we are rising in our vibrations to tap into the highest vibration, the royal vibration. And these deal with the four values of the elements, you see, which is the four members of the royal God family. The air element represents the righteous Father Spirit. You see, the fire elements represents the power. The sun represents the power. The fire element, the sun, the power to do what's right. The earth element represents the daughter. She's daughter character, dealing with security, value, and healing. And then you have Mama Universe, the water element, dealing with the soul. Mama Love, the unconditional love for her ancestral family, you see. And when you are using those four ingredients, then that is when you're tapping into the highest royal vibration, you see, versus degenerating and starting, and the degenerate cycle, and I know I'm going to get a lot of pushback, but we're going to keep it real. The degenerate cycle first starts with interracial relationships. I'm not trying to say one group is bad or one is good, but you create when you are combined, when you come together with your own match, with somebody who is an equal match to you, is how you create at your highest level. The white man will create at the highest level with the white woman, the brown man with the brown woman, the yellow man with the yellow woman, the black man with the black woman. You're going to create at the highest level when you create with someone who is your equal or your match. So that is why anytime you have unequal partnerships, this is a degeneration of the creative process, because you can only create at the level you connect. So that means if you have an inferior and a superior connection, then you're only going to create at the level you connect, so the highest level of the superior becomes non and void, you see. So you have to create with your mate, your match, to your equal in order to create the quality and create from a quality position. And anytime you have an unequal partnership, this is what causes a degeneration of the creation. So that starts with interracial, and it moves to homosexual, then it moves from pedophilia, and then it moves from bestiality to necrophilia. That is the degenerate cycle. So if you're using your vibration and your energy for lower level desires, then that is how you are going to degenerate and come up on. See, when you remember the movie, I love the movie The Matrix because you can demonstrate so much. You remember when Neo would be fighting with the agent, and you would see people just walking down the street, coming from the store, and all of a sudden they start vibrating, and next thing you know, they turn into an agent, and they join into the fight against Neo. Well, This is them vibrating based on your doubts, your fears, and your guilt. This is how you're being manipulated, through your own insecurities to participate with this degenerate cycle. So all this has to be exposed. Everything has to come to a surface right now, because we're at a cleansing and purification phase of this evolutionary process. That's why I say it's always the darkest before the dawn, because all this gunk has to come to the surface so it can be identified and pushed out. So they're giving you a license to come out of the closet and do whatever you feel. Aleister Crowley, do as thou wilt. And so they understand. See, the Muslims have a saying, a nation can rise no higher than its woman, and that is incorrect. The true saying is a nation can rise no higher than its mama. A fertile mama creates a fruitful nation. And an infertile mama creates the abomination that make us desolate, which means to depopulate the land. You do that with war, you do that with drones, you do that with homosexuality, you see. You have to attack the black mama, you see. She's the only one that can recreate a black man's existence. So you have to turn him against her, because you are what your mama is. You are what your mama is. Yes, both parents contribute DNA, but they contribute particular DNA. And when it comes to the color, that is the mama's domain, because she passes her melanin from her breast milk and from her blood to her child. And a white mama does not have that to give to her child. So if a fertile mama creates a fruitful nation, then the opposite, the infertile mama, creates the abomination that makes us desolate. So we've got to understand that it's in their best interest to turn us against, black mama, because she's the ultimate regenerator. Mama lays dormant and allows the masculine to build up their system of order. and then she'll wake up and throw it all into chaos, you see, to regenerate that. And this is what they're fighting against. They do know what time it is. They do know what time it is, okay? And that's why they're now demonizing the black man. They're doing everything they can.
Sister Myrah, real quick before you get into that, that was my next question, Sister Myrah, because we've had, so far this year, the black man has been tied to domestic violence. He beats his woman.
Yes.
He beats his child, Adrian Peterson. He beats his child on national TV. They got that. He gets choked to death by the police. You get choked to death by the police. You get shot and laid on the ground for hours, then thrown in the back of an SUV. You have the incident with the NBA with Donald Sterling, and it's just been so many things this year with the black man. If it's about the black mama, why has there been an assault, an all-out media propaganda campaign on the black man? It seems as though this shit. Because I talk to a lot of brothers, and they feel like, damn, well, why are they coming at us this hard? Like it's been pretty hard in the media, as far as the media this year. So they've been really doing their best to paint this.
Oh yeah, it's on, honey. I'm telling you, it is on. We are here. They know. You know, they're desperate now. Desperate people do desperate things. They
so what's
black
the
man the new face? Yes, he's the new face of homosexuality now. The only one that comes out now is the black man. Like you said, domestic abuse. Now he's a sexual deviant. Do you know that case in Virginia? You know, just because the black man was the last one seen with the white girl, do you know they are charging him with intent to defile? I had never heard of such a thing. So you're telling me just because he intended to have sex with the white girl, that's a crime now called intent to defile? I'm appalled. I'm aghast at that, you see. And then, you know, they brought him back from Texas. He wasn't under arrest. He went to the police, you see, with his attorney. And then he wasn't charged with anything. He left and went to Texas, and they accused him of running, you see. Now they got a drawing of a black man. They're trying to attach him to a serial killer now, you see. And the drawings don't look anything like the man that they're accusing. So, I mean, you talk about rusted judgment. I mean, it's preposterous. Here you got Michael Brown, you know, the police that shot Michael Brown, and they've got documented evidence after evidence, you know, that he shot him, you know, when he was surrendering. Yet it's going to take you months and months to come up with an indictment, but you can go and chase this man down in Texas from Virginia just because, with a charge of intent to defile because he was the last one seen with the white girl. It doesn't make any sense, but we got to understand, when are we going to wake up? When are we going to understand that being with white women, black men, is not in your best interest? We've gotten so comfortable in thinking that we've been accepted, that we've let our guards down. We think we can go out and do, you know, what the white man is doing, you know, completely oblivious of the double standard. And they're being very clear about the double standard. They're being very clear about the fact that, you know, that they're still enforcing the Dred Scott law. That's what was going on in with Trayvon Martin. It wasn't stand your ground. It was Dred Scott that was enforced.
Wow.
When every time they would ask, you know, well, didn't Trayvon have the right to stand his ground? You would see all them white attorneys clam up because they didn't want to tell you the truth. The truth was no. He had no stand your ground right when it comes to him, you know, against a white man or, you know, in that case, a half white, half Hispanic or whatever. But he had no right to stand his ground under the Dred Scott law. So, no. That's what was the problem there. But all of this has to come to the surface. All this has to be exposed. And the world is watching. I really think Ferguson is the real deal here. I think this is being orchestrated from a higher purpose.
Oh, yeah?
I got my doubts about the Trayvon Martin thing. I heard that was a false flag, and I'm beginning to believe it as I watch his mama, go and give support to the Florida man who shot the guy for loud music, and she's going to go there and give support to his family. That's ludicrous, you see. So it makes me wonder if, in fact, it's not true about that Trayvon Martin thing being a false flag. But I can tell you this, I don't believe the Ferguson thing is a false flag. I think this is serving a higher purpose. I think this is, part of a fulfillment because the world is watching now. And I did read where the UN has now commanded the U.S. to do something about this situation, this type of situation. And they made it very clear that it's not just this one instance. It's a repeated, the policemen shooting down unarmed black men. So the UN has gotten involved. The world is watching. And I wouldn't be surprised because there were some Chinese people that had a sign indicating their support for the people of Ferguson. So this kind of stance that they are taking in Ferguson is reverberating throughout the world. With what China is doing now, what is happening worldwide, this is a global operation. We can no longer afford only to be grounded in our own personal struggles right now. Now is the time to understand the warfare and figure out what side you're on and contribute to this higher, operation. To the extent that you suffer is to the extent that you will now bring back an opposite return. That's why we had to go through the full gamut of sacrifice and struggle, not just from our own personal, but going all the way back to the ancestral struggle. All of that had to be completed so that could be a full measure made of the sacrifice. And now we're at the point where there's going to be a match, an opposite return to the same level that we have been made a sacrifice is to the same level that we will now be receiving our karmic reward. Karmic debt is being called in, and a karmic reward is now about to be served up.
Sister Myrah, in January of this year, I forgot the gentleman's name. It was an Arab gentleman. He came out and said that Saturn, the planet Saturn, is in Scorpio. And he said because of this, he said the Jews are gaining power. Now, we know who the real Jews are.
Yeah.
What significance does this have to us? And is this why he said that the Jews will finally realize their full potential? And I'm thinking to myself, I'm listening to him speak. I forget the gentleman's name.
Okay.
I can't even pronounce it, y'all. If you just type in the Jews are gaining power through Saturn being a Scorpio, his name should come up. But from him saying this, and it was a pretty good conversation.
Yeah.
It's on astrolojew.blogspot.com. But what I'm saying is, if the real Jews are black and the real Jews are gaining power, is it possible? We just finished talking about all the distractions on the media. Everything they're doing is to distract us from what's really going on. And we're saying as above, so below. So if we're saying as above, so below, there's some magnificent shit going on inside of us, Sister Myrah. I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to find another word for magnificent at this time, but I can't.
Yes.
But it's marvelous. It's fantastic. It's pure bliss going on inside of us.
Yes.
And they know it.
Yes.
So externally, they want us to concentrate on something external instead of the pure.
Yes.
The magnificence going on inside of us. This is their technique. So this is check it out, Sister Myrah. Being that I said that, we have we're a loyal people. We're we look out for each other. We're a community-based people. Community-based, the village raised the child-based people.
Yes.
So, as an esoteric, as an astrologer, you're trying to concentrate on all this magnificence happening, because you know it's as above, so below. And you know the outside is the world of cause, and the outside is the world of effect. So you're concentrating on side, and then you're like, oh my God, this is a beautiful time we're living in. But then you see what's going on the news.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, I have an obligation to help my people, or to talk about this. And in the process, you are kind of bogged down, or you feel kind of depressed. You went from feeling magnificent to thinking about what's going on inside of you, to feeling bad about what's going on outside of you. So you have this contradiction going on within the black community where, okay, we know we're kings, we know we're rulers, we know this is a divine time for us, but we see all this on TV and we feel bad. We don't feel good. The outside, Myrah, is they want the outside to outpower what's going on inside.
You got it. You got it. Yes.
So, I need you to talk to me about that. How can we get the inside to outpower the outside? Because the outside seems so real, Sister Myrah. They choking brothers to death, shooting brothers. Police officer whooping a sister on the highway, beating her.
Yeah.
She just got a $1.5 million settlement, but that's not the point. That's not good. We can't be bought. Our spirituality,
but it kind of is though, because it is about a negative and positive polarity. No pain, no gain. So that's a personal viewpoint of the sacrifice she took with the beating that precipitated in opposite return. The reward. That is the principles we're working off of right now. So she is an individual example of how this principle works. And there's many layers of that. There's many levels of that. There's something controlling. There has to be a heavy. What I'm teaching you is spiritual principles of energy. And in order for there to be a return in spiritual reward, there has to be a sacrifice made. That's just the spiritual principle of energy, the balance of opposites, the law of karma. Like you said, all these principles of correspondence, all of this stuff is in operation there's many layers and many systems of how this is working out. The mass rotation is going opposite. This is what we talk about, the Zion factor, the small mustard seed, because it only takes two of us vibrating at a high level. When we vibrate and we get some higher insight, what we're doing is we're opening up that energy. We're releasing it so that others can then partake of it too. So the mass rotation is going in the degenerate direction. But there's a small core. And as the architect told Neil, that small anomaly, the one who does not accept the programming and has the ability to overturn the whole system. So all we have to do is continue, I don't care how small, that is vibrating in the opposite direction. Pretty soon, as we keep opening up that energy for others to access it, they will begin to, that cycle will start to reverse, and it'll start to become the more dominant factor, you see. And so, so we are definitely in the throes of, this is definitely a glorious time for us. And we got to keep our energy positive. You hit up on something with that. I noticed one day I do watch the TV, and, I'm into whatever I'm into. And then they pop these commercials where they got these dogs that are animals that's been abused, or it's children that's been abused. And they kept playing them, especially around Christmas time. Please give a donation. And they'll start off with some fabulous music, and this voice that's the compassionate voice. And you look at the images, and it's just horrific. And so what caught my attention was that it looked like these commercials were coming on every 5 minutes, and then they last forever. And then that's when I began to realize, and I would try to flip the channel. Anytime it come on, I tried to flip the channel off of it. And one time I flipped it to another channel, and it was on the other channel at the same time. So that's when I began to realize they are doing everything they can to keep us vibrating at a low level. I call it low vibrators and high vibrators. And the more the gap that grows between the two, the more friction is between the two. But they're doing everything they can to keep us, because anytime you take your energy to the spiritual, or you start lifting it higher, you got to remove it from the physical. You can't serve two masters. So if you're energizing from the spiritual, that means you're taking that energy from the physical. Well, the physical is going to try to bite you in the ass to get that energy back. Mm-hmm. So we have to withstand that. You have to be at peace in order to gain your blessing, because you have to prove to your spirit you trust it. If you're still trying to feel, once you have done all you can in the physical, that's the time to then pass the baton to your spirit. It is going to go behind the scenes and match the energy that you invested physically. It's going to match it. But when you pass it to your spirit, you have to come out of the ring. It's like a tag team match. You both can't go into the ring at the same time. So you have to do as much as you can do from the physical. When you've exhausted what you can do, that's when you pass it to your spirit. Then you have to sit back at peace and secure that you've given the ammunition to your spirit to go gather the energy from behind the scenes. And when it's matched your energy, that's when it will fulfill and complete the purpose, you see. We get into our individual Christhood through Libra, and we just went into Libra the other day, the sun. And that's when you get into equal balance with your own spirit, your individual Christhood. You come into Virgo, which is the last sign in the physical half, and the Virgo is the Virgin Mother that cleanses you and purifies you of false values. And that's the formula for wisdom. So once you have been cleansed and purified through the Virgin Mother of false values, anytime you're dealing with earth, you're dealing with values, and Virgo is the sign of cleansing and purification. So cleansing and purifying of false values to the illusion, that's the Virgin Mother. Then that gives you access to go above the horizon line into the spiritual half of the chart through Libra, where you get into individual equal balance with your own spirit. You bring the physical, it brings the spiritual half. You see, that's where you come into your individual Christhood, you see. So that is, and Libra is the sign of peace. It's an air sign, so that's why you get into equal balance with your spirit. So it is the sign of peace. That means you have to be at peace. You see, once you pass that baton to your spirit, we're in training to be the new rulers for the new age. And you can't be a tentative ruler. You can't send your power out and then look over your shoulders and wonder if it's going to happen. You have to be secure in that power from within. That's why it's time now for us to go internal and stop trusting what you think. Start trusting what you feel. What you feel is what's coming from the internal. That's your ancient memory. That's the Akashic record. The external is the mind. The mind has been programmed in the illusion, you see. So we can't trust what we think. Now we have to trust what we feel.
Being intuitive.
Until we put it in equal balance with what we think. Then we come holistic. That's what God means, holistic. We have full access to 360 degrees of energy. Do you know that they did a ritual, Mandela's funeral. They had all the leaders gathered there. They've been using their 33 degrees of Freemason power over us to manipulate the world. Well, they were seduced into coming into South Africa for Mandela's funeral, thinking that they were pulling off this farce. In the spirit of forgiveness, all the leaders gathered there, and they were performing a 10-day ritual on them. They laughed at that interpreter. That interpreter was going over their head. He was doing an invocation. He was doing an invocation. He was calling down those spiritual energies. And what he was actually signing was, you have been judged and you have been found lacking. And to the extent that you have abused the least of thee, is to the extent that you shall now fall. The head is being made the tail, and the tail is being made the head. That's what he was actually, opening up in energy at Mandela's funeral. They have declared war on nature, or what is natural, and that was an indication that nature is now responding. Because a few weeks after that, then that is when the Pope released 2 doves, white doves. He had a young girl and a young boy, released those doves out of the Vatican, and 2 black birds came and attacked the 2 white birds. Because that's a farce of spirit of peace and harmony. And that's the last thing on their mind. So now nature is responding to these false premises of spiritual energy. Nature is now attacking back. So, honey, this is getting ready to get so good. And I tell my clients, I don't care what chaos is raging right outside your window. You don't blink. You don't even flinch. Your lack of fear is your lamb's blood. The chaos will pass you over. This has to fall. There's no fixing it. There's no propping it up. It's too corrupted, and it has to go. We're in the throes of transformation. That means the death of the old for a rebirth of the new. That's Scorpio energy. That's why Saturn is in Scorpio. Saturn is the father energy of the earth. So it's now time to transform. The death of the old, rebirth of the new at a higher level. The old has to go in order for the new to blossom. So let this fall. But every family, through your ancestry, has a vessel for spirit. Spirit needs a vessel as much as the vessel needs the spirit. They have to work in balance and in harmony with each other. So now there's a family member that is in touch with the ancestral spirits that now has the authority to send out energy to protect your loved one. Protect your loved one so you can focus on what you need to do and contributions to bring this down, so the new can blossom. So you do have the power to protect your loved ones. Put out that power of protection for your loved ones, and then let this ditch fall. That's what time it is, okay?
Sister Myrah, our hour is about up. I want to thank you so much. I want to thank you so much for being on the show. And I look forward to having you on here much more often. I got a load of questions. I didn't even get to ask you, Sister Myrah. So I look forward to having you on here, man. I swear. Anytime, honey. Anytime. Spirit. When I'm called, I know that Spirit has a message for me to deliver. So I'm just trying to be a vessel. You have to be a vessel of integrity in order to stay true to the higher level spirit. Because the minute you abuse your integrity, the higher level spirits will immediately vacate and the trickster spirits will come in. So I want to be that vessel of integrity to deliver the highest message, and it's a message of empowerment. This is very much a good time for us. But you got to know that. And you doubts, fears, and guilt are the 3 things that will undermine that power. But we now have access to the powers of the universe, Pandora's box,
That's for us to go in and discover the magic and the mystery. The first two letters of magic is Ma, and we're now in Mama time. So that means it's time for magic. Where you embrace Father in knowing, you have to embrace Mama in faith and trust. Because it goes beyond your contemplation. This is magical. We're at the magical phase of this operation.
Sister Myrah, please give your phone number one more time for those that want to contact you.
All right, it's 336-965-0180. And I'm doing magnificent things through the astrological where I am connecting people, with their physical aspect to their spiritual purpose, the purpose they came in, as like you said, as above, so below. And I'm doing that through the astrological chart. I'm able to show the people, what they physically came in here to do in connection to the spiritual purpose that they're serving, you see. I can expose that through the astrological chart. So I'm getting some magnificent readings these days.
Definitely. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I'm a personal example of that. Definitely hit Sister Myrah up, We're going to have her on the show more often. Also, I would like to thank everybody who out there support my show. I get a lot of emails. Sister Myrah, always, you always been in the back of my mind. I always remember what you did for me astrologically. And I always said once I got a bigger platform, I was going to bring you on and allow the people to hear what I heard privately. So it's a pleasure for me to bring you on into this public platform, YouTube, Facebook, Blog Talk, whatever, and let the people, give the people the opportunity to hear what I've been privileged to hear privately. 10 years ago. I just turned 33, so when I was 23, you was schooling me the game. So I thank you for that, Sister Myrah. Thanks for all those who support my YouTube, my website, everybody who placed orders. Sean Rogers, I don't know if Sean Rogers is listening. Special shout out to Sean Rogers just for sending me a donation just off the shrimp. Didn't even order anything. I appreciate it, Sean Rogers. Everybody who sent me emails thanking me, Gigi Mama, everybody. I forget all the names, but there's so many I can't remember right now. The happy birthday shout outs. All y'all, man, I swear I love all y'all. Without all y'all, my YouTube page wouldn't be nothing. We're at over 30.